Welcome on in, everybody. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could subscribe here and subscribe to the Tobin and Leroy Show, which you can find every single weekday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. live on WQAM's YouTube page. You can also watch Game Day Uncensored if you're a Dolphins fan. Do the pregame with my guys Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana. Speaking of Solana, going to be down at the Heat's house today for the red, white, and pink game. Heat's scrimmage before they get the preseason going tomorrow, so looking forward to that. You guys can get that on the Odyssey app. You guys can listen to that if you want to. No video that I'm aware of, but hopefully we'll get you some cool content, and I'll have a recap for you there later on tonight. But looking forward to it. Excited. Was at Heat camp, boots on the ground on Saturday. I think you guys saw my back and forth with Bam and Eric Spoelstra in the little scrum there as they wrapped up Heat camp. And I think the most interesting thing that has come out of this, you know, people were so focused on Tyler Herro, his attitude, how is he going to handle all this? And really the man has been nothing but a stand-up professional and all this stuff. Been honest about himself, been you know, I think sticking up for himself in some spots, but has been doing a lot of one-on-ones. We sat down with him at Media Day. I thought that, you know, Tyler was great on all things considered with the Portland thing. He did a sit-down or did a few minutes with Ira Winderman where he said, I didn't want to go to Portland, so I'm glad they didn't want me. And he said, not personal, I just don't want to be in Portland, and who could blame him when you live in Miami? So, you know, what was this going to be like? But I think the thing that was most interesting, he did an interview with Anthony Chang, and it talked that he wants to make himself, the word he put was untouchable. That was the big phrase that he put, that he wants to make himself untouchable, that he wants to be featured and feels like almost like Bam Adebayo, where Bam, you have all these trade talks that come up, and they don't even consider trading Bam Adebayo. It's not even like a thing that the Heat would like. It would go past their mind. Maybe there's like a few guys in the league that he would like have a talk about it, and those guys would probably, and like, look, they didn't even do it with Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant wanted to play with Bam, but like, you know, would they have a talk about it with Joel Embiid? I don't even know. Giannis, Joker, maybe these are guys they have to have a meeting about, but Bam, for the most part, is pretty untouchable when it comes to the Heat. Obviously, we know Jimmy Butler's not going anywhere when it comes to the Miami Heat, and Tyler wants to put himself in that kind of ilk. One of the things that's been interesting is that Eric Spoelstra has said that Tyler, during training camp, has been on. He said, Tyler's been on. There's been no off button for him this week, and that's on both ends of the court. I think everybody immediately sees his skill level, and that's not hyperbole. When the coach is saying he's one of the most skilled players in the association, he is. Enough talk about it. He's going to show it, and we need it. And those things can fill so many gaps for us and help our offense exponentially. So I asked Bam at camp about these comments from Spo about Tyler Herro, and Bam had also had a lot of high praise for his teammate, his fellow Kentucky Wildcat, and this is what he had to say on Tyler.
Spo said that Tyler has come in with a big intensity this week, even on both ends. How much have you seen that?
Oh, man, a lot, you know, especially when obviously the blood gets flowing and we get to compete. You know, you start to notice how hard he's worked in the offseason to perfect a lot of things in his game and even make him even sharper than he has last year.
Is there anything in particular, like, different you see about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's off the charts scoring the ball. And I know that sounds cliche because, like, Tyler's a scorer, but, you know, he's minimized, you know, extra dribbles. Getting his shot off faster, you know, reading the game, making the right pass. And you can play him at the point guard spot if you need to.
So Bam, who, I mean, also with a lot of high words for Tyler, who he obviously has a great chemistry with. You know, these guys on the court together have always served each other well and have always had a great dynamic between them. But when Tyler says that he wants to make himself untouchable, I think that he's kind of given voice to this early in the year. I don't know if any of that can happen during the season. Like, look, if Tyler Herro does go out there, the number that has been thrown out there by his trainer has been, 26 points. I asked him about this from his trainer, Drew Hanlon, who trains a lot of the stars, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum. Tyler Herro is a 93% free throw shooter. Didn't get to the line 3 times a game last year. If he can get to the line more, and maybe takes, a few more threes, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for Tyler to get there. with how skilled he is offensively. I think that he's honestly, if you watch Tyler, how diligent he is warming up, he's got one of the more he's got a really cool way that he gets himself ready for games. He's very, very diligent in it. Hits a lot of his those sweet spots that we see, from the baby float to all the comfortability that he has in the mid-range and things like that. But, the danger he presents from a shooter and the stress that he can put on people from a shooter, and that he is super confident at the end of these games. So, yeah, I think in the regular season, upping those numbers and giving them that extra punch and always being able to rely upon him, that he's going to get his shots. He took more shots than anybody on the team last year in the regular season. But if he could shore up that efficiency, if he can get to the line a little bit more, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he can get to those levels and maybe crack and talk all-star. I honestly think that Tyler Herro had a great case to be an all-star 2 years ago when he was sixth man. I think the idea that he came off the bench was probably the thing that killed him on it. And if you really think about it, it's kind of a bull bleep reason. But until then, I don't really know what is going to be the thing that makes him untouchable until it's the postseason. And if Tyler Herro has his impact in the postseason, well, then this puts a lot of that stuff moot. I mean, the idea of Dame and Bradley Beal and all that stuff. If Tyler takes those steps, and mind you, he's going to be 24 years old coming in January. A 24-year-old who's doing that stuff in the playoffs after having what happened to him last year with the fluke and everybody thinking it was an addition by subtraction. And then on top of that, the year before that where he had said, I was stuck in the muck a little bit. Then he had the groin injury. But if he can get through a year where health isn't a big question, and there's been times in every one of his seasons where it's like, he's got a little thing here, a little thing there. If he has a year where he handles the load, he gets through it health-wise, and can produce run plays, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for him to get there and silence a lot of this noise. I really don't. I think that he can certainly make that a possibility. But for the start of it right now, where the Heat are at, for him to take on these roles of get everybody involved, make himself a more efficient player on the court, not need as much time on a shot clock to find the good shot and the comfortable shot for him. I think that these are all great signs, but they're also just signs of a guy who's at the age that he's at, the experience that he's at, and it's going to be interesting to see what this guy comes through. He did say, as far as this to Ira, one of his quotes was, "I don't think of this as a revenge tour at all. It's just the regular season. I'm just motivated to come back. I haven't played in a while, so I'm excited to be back. I know my game, and I'm going to play it." He says, and that's really all it is at the end of the day. I don't really care what anybody says. I'm ready to play. And he says, I think since I've gotten here, Jimmy's been a big part of our success. Bam, obviously, and the rest of our role players. But I think when I'm playing well, our team is at a higher level. And I remember asking him about, missing the postseason, and he thought, man, there were some teams in there I really felt like I could have torched. I felt like the coverage against them, and I think he's right. I think that there were some good matchups against the teams that they did end up facing in the postseason. So he gets that opportunity here. It's a long, it's a long road ahead for sure. But I do think that, for Tyler, it is going to be a big year. I think that as much as he's put on the great front, and I think has handled it really, really well, there's no way that he doesn't want to shut a lot of people up and kind of give a little FU, even with the Heat. I think that's part of the thing. I think with Duncan Robinson, I thought last year, the no F's given Duncan Robinson, I think there was even a little side to him. It's inside the ecosystem of the Heat, I think there was a little level of, hell, you guys thought I was cooked. You didn't do anything. You wanted to go with Max Strus for all of this. It's and now it's not so. But I thought that it was kind of cool to see that element of Duncan Robinson from a mentality standpoint. This aw shucks dunks is dead. I think that you have a guy who's a bit of a grizzled, chiseled veteran now, who's got a wider skill set, and now is being the mentor to, you would think, is he going to be, kind of a jerk to some of the players in there? How is he going to be? Apparently, he's been the biggest mentor to Cole Swider since he's been there. Ben was talking about this at camp.
Among the young guys who have had the biggest moments through this whole week?
I'm going to say Cole. Cole has really shown he can really shoot the ball. He can play on different types of teams. He can play with the young fellas, play fast, but he also can get with Kyle Lowry and K Love and be under control and learn how to really flow in offense.
Have you been impressed? I mean, Duncan seems to have really kind of taken Cole under his wing a little bit. You could understand a guy in that position would be. Here's a young guy with the same similar skill set. I could just see him as a threat, but Duncan has gone the opposite route and just decided I'm going to mentor this guy. Impressive to you?
I mean, yeah, because that's how it's supposed to be. Guys get that ego where they're like, nah, you're going to take my job. But, Duncan's set for life at the end of the day. So sharing your knowledge, you can't take it with you. When you leave here, you leave Earth, you can't take it with you, so you might as well share it and help somebody else get better, because at the end of the day, you never know. Like, Cole might not be here. Cole might go somewhere else and become their Duncan Robinson, but because Duncan has given him so much knowledge, it's kind of like Wayne looking at Duncan in a sense. So, I feel like there's nothing wrong with sharing the knowledge of the game.
So it's exciting stuff, man. I'm excited to see what these preseason games bring, see who the gems are going to be, and see what unfolds with this team. And I'm just so excited basketball's almost here.